Shalom, shalom, and welcome back to the channel. If you are new, I'm glad to have you here, and I hope you find something here that draws you closer to Saba Yahuah and Abba Yahusha. So let's dive in. Today we will be talking about the Niddah, which many identify in English as the period, the menses or menstruation, which is the process in a woman of discharging blood and other materials from the lining of the uterus at intervals of a week every lunar month, starting from puberty until menopause, except during the times of pregnancy. So for all my brothers, don't be alarmed. You are welcome to stay, as this will be great information for you to know and be equipped for your wives and daughters. In modern society, we have become so far removed from the ancient Hebraic practices of the Niddah that we in turn cause our own affliction. And what I mean when I say affliction is the heavy and excess bleeding, the cramps, the major mood swings, the hormonal imbalances, etc. that we experience due to the lack of proper connection and operation to our Niddah and its cycle. So my goal for this lesson is to provide the biblical, historical, and scientific knowledge on the Niddah and conclude with the biblical application for us women in these modern times so we can get back to our Yali feminine selves that the Most High Yahuah has created us to be. The 4 cycles of Niddah are the menstruation, the follicular phase, ovulation, and luteal phase, which are representations of the 4 stages of a woman's life, which are adolescence, reproductive years, midlife, and postmenopausal. Interesting enough, each of these cycles of a woman's life correlates directly to the cycles of the seasons on the earth: spring, summer, fall, and winter. The menstrual cycle is supposed to align with the cycle of the moon, which is why it is typically 28 days, which represents a month and equates to 13 months in a year, which equals 364 days. If you have ever read Enoch or Jubilees, it lets us know that there are to be 364 days in a year. Enoch 82:7 says, so that the year is completed in 364 days. In Jubilees 6:32 it says, and command you the children of Yashael that they observe the years according to this reckoning, 364 days, and these will constitute a complete year, and they will not disturb its time from its days and from its feasts, for everything will fall out in them according to their testimony, and they will not leave out any day nor disturb any feast. And we all know that we have done everything to disrupt the days and the times. So Jubilees 6:38 lets us know, for this reason I command and testify to you, that you may testify to them, for after your death your children will disturb them, so that they will not make the year 364 days only, and for this reason they will go wrong as to the new moons and seasons and Shabbats and feasts, and they will eat all kinds of blood with all kinds of flesh. Interesting. Something to say that on. It is important to get back in tune to the ancient ways, as the modern day advancements have led to a disconnected society focused on an altered reality that isn't real, consumed with false images of self, with no connection to nature and the divine cycles of Yahuah. Niddah in the Strongs is 5079 from the root word Niddah 5074, which means abhorrent, abhorrent thing, impurity, menstrual, menstrual impurity, menstrual period, menstruation, period, time, unclean, unclean thing, uncleanness. And here is an excerpt from Jeff Benner in Ancient Hebrew. Niddah, removal, something that is removed or thrown out. A menstruating woman is removed from the camp. Remove, separation, put apart, filthiness, flowers, far, set apart, menstruous, removed, unclean, uncleanness. And his references are Strong's H5079 and H5206. Let's take a moment to Selah on the definitions given by the Strongs. At first glance, it is so easy to demonize the woman, shun the woman, look at the Niddah as a burden and a negative thing. But it is so much deeper than that. Life is in the blood. Bereshit, also known as Genesis 9:4, says, "But flesh with the life thereof, which is the blood thereof, shall ye not eat." Leviticus, also called Vayikra, 17:11-12 says, "For the soul of the flesh is in the blood. He and I have given it to you upon the altar to make an atonement for your souls. For it is the blood of him that makes an atonement in the soul. Therefore I said unto the children of Yasharal, no soul of you shall eat blood, neither shall any stranger that sojourns among you eat blood." Leviticus 17:14 says, "For it is the life of all flesh, the blood of it is for the life thereof. Therefore I said unto the children of Yasharal, ye shall eat the blood of no manner of flesh, for the life of all flesh is the blood thereof. Whosoever eats it shall be cut off." So a woman during her Niddah is vulnerable, delicate, and valuable, as she is literally discharging life. Hebraically, this is looked at as unclean because she is releasing what is old, which is the unfertilized egg, and preparing for the new. Reference to 2 Corinthians 5:17, "Old things are passed away, behold I make all things new." This is, in the Niddah, is the cycle of life. So the blood can be used also for wickedness, such as spells. Some people have put this blood in food for rituals of love, sire bonds, and mixing and corrupting of DNA, etc. This blood carries DNA, stem cells, and the fluid of the endometrial lining, and so much more, which also contributes to why it is biblically classified as unclean, as many people use this blood for corrupt things. Scientifically, the Niddah cycle, aka the menstrual cycle, is all about the releasing of the egg, which is governed by the complex interaction between reproductive hormones. One of those hormones is the luteinizing hormone known as LH. This hormone is regulated by gonadotropin-releasing hormone from the hypothalamus. So an acute rise of LH, known as an LH surge, triggers ovulation and the development of the corpus luteum. The corpus luteum is a completely normal cyst that forms in the ovary every single month in a woman of childbearing age. This cyst is actually a group of cells inside your ovaries that forms during each menstrual cycle. It appears right after an egg leaves your ovary, which is ovulation. The remnant of this follicle produces progesterone and estrogen to prepare the womb for pregnancy. If no pregnancy occurs, the fall of progesterone leads to the shedding of the endometrial lining. The follicle-stimulating hormone, FSH, manages the menstrual cycle by stimulating the ovaries to produce eggs. The female sex hormone estrogen, including estradiol, regulates the female menstrual cycle and also protects women from the cardiovascular disease such as heart attacks and stroke. An imbalance of any of these hormones, including testosterone, can cause negative impacts on our reproductive system. These hormones not only affect us eternally, but also play a drastic role in how we behave and act with those around us. Now there is so many chemicals and hormones in the environment that also contribute to hormone imbalances. But I will refrain from going down that rabbit hole. When we release hormones, for example, such as estrogen, as it's the highest hormone being released during our Niddah, it not only affects us, but even our spouse and those we are around. And men do not need high levels of estrogen, which can also play a role as to why Yahuah required us to be set apart. Let's examine some biblical scriptures regarding this. Leviticus 19:15-24 states, "And if a woman have an issue, and her issue is her flesh be blood, she shall be apart 7 days. And whosoever touches her shall be unclean until the even. And everything that she lies upon in her separation shall be unclean. Everything also that she sits upon shall be unclean. And whosoever touches her bed shall wash his clothes, and bathe himself in water, and be unclean until the even. And whosoever touches anything that she sat upon shall wash his clothes, and bathe himself in water, and be unclean until the even. And if it be on her bed, or anything whereon she sits, when he touches it, he shall be unclean unto the even. And if any man lie with her at all, and her flowers be upon him, he shall be unclean 7 days. And all the bed whereon he lies shall be unclean." Leviticus 18:19 states, "Also, you shall not approach unto a woman to uncover her nakedness, as long as she is put apart for her uncleanness." And so the next few scriptures I'm going to read are just letting you know how Yahuah viewed the woman while she was on her Niddah, as it needed to be separated, and it was an uncleanliness. Ezekiel 18:6 says, "And has not eaten upon the mountains, neither has he lifted up his eyes to the idols of the house of Yahusha, neither has defiled his neighbor's wife, neither has he come near to a menstruous woman." And another passage in Ezekiel states in 22 verses 9-10, "And you are men that carry tails to shed blood, and in you they eat upon the mountains, in the midst of you they commit lewdness, in you have they discovered their father's nakedness, in you have they humbled her that was set apart for pollution." And then another one in Ezekiel says, in chapter 36:17 states, "Son of Adam, when the house of Yashrael dwelt in their own land, they defiled it by their own way and by their doings. Their way was before me as the uncleanness of a removed woman." Hallelujah. In these biblical days, I have come to believe women bled out, not blocking their flow, which contributes to why everything she lays upon or sat upon was unclean. Women would often be set apart with other women. As you may know, when you are close to another woman, oftentimes your Niddah synchronizes. In those days, there was a great sisterhood and tribe life among women, and they would help each other in every aspect of their lives. Now, in the modern day world, we have become so disconnected with the individualistic mentality, going through these processes alone, and they have also pushed unhealthy feminine products on us, such as the tampons or the menstrual pads. I would strongly recommend that no woman use tampons and no woman use menstrual cups or discs, as these all are being inserted in the vaginal canal, which can potentially cause unnecessary harm. A side note, with these newly pushed vaginal cups and discs, people are storing their blood and using them for blood paintings and putting them in gardens and things of that nature. These are rituals, which is witchcraft. I would recommend to find natural products such as the natural pads or natural underwear. Please take the time to research the concept of free bleeding. And most importantly, seek Yahuah for guidance as to what will be best practices for you and your situation. Most popular brands of feminine products, like I already mentioned, such as the tampons and the menstruational pads, have toxic chemicals. In tampons, they have dioxin, furans made with cotton that has pesticides in it, and they use perfume chemicals that can lead to cancer, reproductive harm, and hormone disruption. Sanitary napkins have the styrene, which is used in car tires, chloromethane used in petroleum refining, acetone, which is used in nail polish, and chlorophane used to make styrofoam. Clearly, these restin products have become another way of biowarfare. Biblically, we must strive to be set apart during our Niddah as much as possible. It's a time for introspection, self-examination. It's a time to release the old and welcome the new. A time for deliverance. A time to allow Yahuah to restore our virtue. As most times we are often the glue, and as the glue we give and give, but often forget about ourselves. This time is a commanded break given by Yahuah, a time of reflection. Some possible questions during your time of introspection you might ask yourself is, have I been operating according to the will and way of Yahuah as a woman, a wife, a mother, a daughter? What do I want to let go of that is holding me back? What emotions do I need to release as I begin this new cycle? What am I struggling with that I need to repent from, renounce, and denounce? How can I improve as a woman, a wife, a mother, a daughter, etc.? And the more you spend time doing these introspections, I am certain that Yahuah will start placing questions for you to reflect on during this period, that we might actually operate according to his cycles that he created, so we can experience it with the proper intention and healing that it was made for. Ideally, what would a modern day separation look like? If we had a back house or a separate room, we would remain in there for that time. No cooking, no cleaning, set apart from children and husband. As long as the child is not at a nursing age, we would have a handmaid to take care of all of the tasks that we would normally do. Yeah, I know. Nobody has a handmaid, and that's probably not the average person who can do all that. So the first thing that I would say is first pray and ask Yahuah to give you direction on this matter, as to how he wants you to operate in regards to the Niddah. So let's get to these practical basics. Number 1, no intercourse during your Niddah. Also keep in mind that everything you bleed on is unclean. So if you do stay in the bed with your spouse, be mindful, because you can subsequently cause your spouse to be unclean. And as we read earlier, there's certain things that he has to do biblically. Monitor your mood and how you interact along with your emotions, as we are more vulnerable and susceptible to overwhelming feelings during this time. Stay prayerful, journal, set goals, and ask for help if you need it. Reach out to your Akiot, aka your sisters, and become more tribal as we are striving to get back to these ancient paths. Some herbs, but FYI, I am not a doctor, so please do your own research. But some herbs that are great for your reproductive system is yellow dock, folic acid, dim, and make sure you're getting an adequate source of vitamin D. And you possibly need a supplement if you're not. Red raspberry leaf and ginger. Herbs for cleansing your reproductive system are burdock root, arnica flower, and red clove. And herbs that help our reproductive system for fertility and overall functioning: black cohosh, ashwagandha, damiana, guaco, yombe, and kelp. So these are just some of the herbs that I've done research on that are very instrumental in making sure you're producing reproductive health, and just make sure you're having an overall great diet. So some fruits that also help in reproductive health are guava, papaya. Don't consume the seeds in papaya, as those can make you prevent you from getting pregnant. And then there's pineapple, mangoes, strawberries, citrus fruits, and bananas. And once your Niddah is complete, the most important thing is the purifying process. I know we're not in the times of old, but one thing I would at least recommend is for you to do a purifying bath. And some of the things that I would put is essential oils, and that would be essential oils such as frankincense, myrrh, a little bit of hyssop, as that can burn, lavender, peppermint, lemon, lemongrass, etc. You can do your own research and find various purifying essential oils that you think you like and enjoy that will suit you. And if you are married or you have a head, you might ask your head, which is your priest, to do a prayer for you, a prayer for cleanliness, a prayer for purification, and a prayer for life. And some believe, and I'm not going to really get into this too deep, but some believe waiting 7 days after your menstruation before you are considered clean. And others believe it's that first week, the first 7 days in which you are bleeding. And once you stop, that's it. You're good. You can go back and you're clean. And that is, once again, something that I would strongly encourage everyone to pray about, so you can have the right understanding and direction. And just seek Yahuah, like I said, and ask him to give you guidance by Ruach HaKodesh. And I pray that this lesson has ultimately edified you to become more connected to the ancient paths, as this is something Yahuah placed on me. And please feel free to leave any questions or comments. And until we meet again, Mishpachah, I love you all. And I pray that you guys are doing well. Please don't forget to like and share, as I just think this one is just a great one for all of our sisters. Valuable information that everyone needs to have, especially when you're intentionally trying to return to the ancient paths. So I love you guys much. Shalom, shalom, and until we meet again.